Faders of the Lost Art.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Faders of the Lost Art. This is episode number 10. We're getting close to 20. It's a lot of episodes. Let's first start by introducing my amazing co-host, Dave Pensado, Fareed Salama, Ken Lewis, and Bob Horn. Legendary. We'll go ahead and shout out a couple of our friends, sponsors, etc. Avid, Arturia, you already know they be holding it down. Cloud Mics, you already know that it's pretty fire right there. Focusrite, they got us laced up. We're doing some ATMOS craziness going on right now. Thatmos Studio, Ken Studio is amazing. On Point Sound Studios as well. And without further ado, let's see. Jack Harlow has been rolling with this guy for the longest time. Probably everything you've heard come from Jack's camp has touched and gone through the desk of this gentleman, fine young gentleman right here. I'm proud to present not only a homie, not only such a great individual, but an amazing engineer, Nickie Jon Pabon. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Faders. Let's go.
Appreciate that, y'all. Appreciate it. Good afternoon to everyone, man.
In the building.
Yeah, man.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, man.
Thank you.
Dave pulling out some.
Where are you at in the world?
Find myself in Kentucky these days, man. I've been living here for the majority of the year. I've been with Jack for a couple years. We'll get into it, but more recently we've been on the road ever since the pandemic opened up, and we kind of had a run there where we were just going and traveling and recording at the same time. And I think this year has been a good reset. You know, we haven't had as many shows. We've just been chilling in Kentucky, continuing to work on music. We made album Jackman here in Kentucky, which came out a couple months ago, and just worked the new John Cook single 3D. But we've mainly been stationed here, and I enjoy it, man. Kentucky's a good vibe.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Amazing.
What city? Where are you located in Kentucky?
Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm up in Cincinnati.
Oh, really? Oh, you're down the road.
Yeah, right down the road, baby. I spent 29 years in New York City, and last year we moved back out to Cincinnati. Nobody even knows. So.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'd love to catch up one day in person, man. That'd be sick. We're right by each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're really close.
What's the studio scene like out there, Nickie, in Kentucky? Is it?
Well, you know, I kind of stay in a bubble, you know, for better or for better. And I know that this is a hub that in general is growing. The music scene is growing, the art scene is growing. Bourbon is taking off, which is injecting a lot of energy into the city. So it's an exciting time. I think the studios that I've been to here have been here for a while and have a reputation of being top notch. And I think that's just going to keep elevating with how things are looking across the board in music over here, man. There's a lot of really, really good talent, and Jack is not the only one from here. You know, he's taken it very far, but there's been other artists and will be other artists that come out of here that will see a great future ahead.
Do you guys have your own studio, or do you work at one of the studios there in Louisville?
You know, he's lived here his whole life, so he has studios that he's attached to that he might have been coming to since he was 13 years old. The studio that I'm sitting in particular is one of those studios, but we tend to bounce back and forth. Sometimes we even record at his place that he has here. It just depends, but we don't have a firm headquarters. I think it's good to have like a refresh and catch a new room every so often if we're going to be in the same city, you know?
Absolutely.
Let's get right into the nitty gritty. What's your mic chain of choice? And this we'll bounce it off everybody. But
word, I love that. Well, if I were to have my holy grail mic, it'd be the 251, the Telefunken 251. But most recently, people will be surprised. I've been using a TLM 103 on the road with him because we've been traveling so much, and maintain continuity, especially overseas. I didn't want to bring the mic, the $10,000 mic out there, and risk it getting affected by travel. So I've been carrying around a Neumann that we know is industry standard, and it works. I can pull up a song in Paris, or I could pull it up in Kentucky, and we're not going to have any problems of, man, this doesn't sound the same. The room is completely like, I'm always taking stuff like that into consideration. But 251 Holy Grail.
Nice.
What do you run through, like preamp wise and everything else for him?
Part of that process as well with the mic is the Apollo. It's 2023, man, and for Come Home the Kids Miss You, I was definitely running more analog, running through the 1073, running through the Tube Tech, and I've kind of just created an emulation of that in the box that I can compete with and pull up at a hotel room and get the job done. But on Unison, on the Apollo, shout out UAD, it's the 1084 I actually like on him, and the Tube Tech.
Mark 1 or Mark
Use
2?
the Mark II or the Legacy?
The Mark II. The Mark
Nice.
II. I like the parallel function.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's good for up and comers to know that hit records are being made with the Unison preamps and a TLM 103. It's not always about the gear; it's about the delivery of the talent. Like that's the first and foremost.
Exactly. And to add to that, there's no better vibe than to be in a new country and to pull up the songs that you've been working on, or start some new songs, and have that inspiration be fed, to not feel like, sometimes the studio, can feel like a little bit of a box, and we design it to have a vibe, or we put it to a point where we can see ourselves being in there and not being fatigued by the room. But in reality, a refresher every so often is what I just feel like does wonders for inspiration. And there's nothing like being able to have the flexibility of telling my client, we can record wherever you want, like literally wherever.
All right.
So yeah, that means a lot to my process.
And you don't have to carry extra
That's
gear. Like
super
that's
dope.
the gear that I already know. Like you go around with that Apollo in your laptop. So
Yeah, man, I gotta transition into a roller bag. This backpack is too heavy, man. I gotta save myself, man. It does get crazy with the headphones, and I carry 2 laptops. Yeah, this is just a reminder that I need to go ahead and pull the trigger on that little roller bag for the travels.
Soon you'll be talking around a Pelican case.
Yeah. What's crazy is I have a Pelican case that carries the live sound stuff, because I as well, work with him in that capacity. I run playback for him, and run some things behind the scene on the live sound stuff, and so I'm already getting to a max out, but it's all good. I love it, and we'll find a solution.
Right.
they actually have
You definitely gotta love this.
Pelican case roller bags. They have those now.
Oh yeah. I'm hip. I need to go ahead and pull the trigger.
Yeah.
This is good. This is a good reminder.
Pelican, we need a sponsor.
Please, man. I mean, come on, Pelican.
For me,
Come on, Pelican. Do you prefer being in the studio or being on stage with them?
Man, I just consider them two completely different worlds, man. I grew up, my background is having a love for the stage, man. I always would pull up to venues, even at 7, 8, 9 years old, go to concerts and just be amazed by what seemed like backstage was like a portal to this unknown land. Like when the artist comes from backstage, like what is that black cloud that they're coming from? When they leave and they walk away, what's back there? Like it was always intriguing to me, and I feel blessed that now, that 7, 8, 9-year-old gets awakened every time I walk into a new venue, and venues that I've loved since I was a kid, to just go in there. And even while they're setting up, while the stage is being built or set up, I can just walk around the venue and just relive those moments as a kid where I just felt like, wow, like I would love to be on stage. And at the time I thought that the only way that you would be on stage is if you were the singer. So I always grew up being a singer, a dancer, performer, because I didn't know no better. But as I get older and I saw that there's other layers to the stage, I found what I felt like was my calling, and that always comes up during the live show. So that's a nostalgic part, but the studio just feels like a dream come true, you know, to be able to lock in every day and build a relationship and work on music that you love. And you know, so it's tough. It's too tough to that. I had to explain both sides because both of the context is important for me in my life, and I couldn't pick one over
I
the
hate to
other.
say this, but I haven't recorded anything in 15 years. I don't do that. But if I did, I wouldn't know where I loaned my microphone to. I think Jaime might have it. Yeah, no, I don't do that.
It's funny. I was just talking to a friend about, you know, it'd be great to get a microphone in front of Dave, and I was like, well, lo and behold, the assistants are a lot of times the first step into, you know, passing that torch. Like, hey, I think this is really cool. You should check it out. Or like, hey, I don't know, this isn't really, you know, worth the time or whatever. So that's one thing a lot of companies need to kind of get hip to, is like, you may not always get straight to the person you want to get to, or the feedback you want. Sometimes you got to go through other unknown, quote unquote, gatekeepers to help you get there. So it's like, yeah, I mean, just start, you know, reaching out to the assistants of whatever your favorite engineer is, and possibly they can, you know, alley oop that up. So that's a great point. And funny enough, I'll tap in my mic. I've actually been using a TLM 103. Been waiting on that C800 to come in, but the 103 is pretty butter.
No,
Can't
103 is a
complain.
classic, man. I had a 103. That was my first mic, and I loved it. I loved it till the day I got jacked. I actually got jacked for this
we got
for the SM.
we got to get you a new part of town,
No, yeah,
man.
no, it
You're
was a
getting
legitimate
jacked
jack,
over
man.
there.
I traded it with my friend,
Oh,
and he just wanted to try it out. Traded it to try out the SM7B, which I still have right here. No pop filter, but and never got it back, man. But I mean, SM7B is a great mic too, so I'm not mad.
did you guys see the new SM7 that now has the cloud lifter built in?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did.
Did see that.
That's pretty
Yes.
awesome.
It's crazy.
Nah, they
The
killed
Yeah,
it.
Thriller
that's my
mic
setup for
reinvented,
mixing
huh?
night.
What's that?
That
The Thriller mic.
Universal SD1.
Yeah.
Go on, Nikki.
Oh no, I was just saying that was the Thriller mic.
Yeah, that's
The
the
famous
Thriller mic,
Thriller
man.
mic is being reinvented.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
I can't remember what I was saying. My mic chain is a C800. Always has been. The only thing I think I've ever heard that I would choose to say beat it would be a 251, but only in certain ranges. I think the 251 beats it up until you really dig in, then the C800 takes over. But
What's your favorite pre's on that?
my Groove Tubes Viper, I've never heard anything that big. I mean, it just sounds
The
massive.
what?
And before that, I had a Groove Tubes Viper.
Okay.
VIPRE.
Okay.
It's 3 rack spaces, 1 mono mic pre, and it's got 8 tubes in it. And it sounds like it's 1 mono mic pre and 3 rack spaces. It's just enormous. Before that, I was using a GML mic pre before that, and I was like, what's gonna beat the GML? And then I plugged in the Viper and 8-beat. I was like, holy shit. So yeah, I've been using the Viper for like a decade now.
So I'm.
Wow.
But I also backload my chain with a compression is Thermionic Culture, the Phoenix, which is a Varimu compressor that I cut through, and then I go through a Cush Clariphonic, an outboard one, and usually open up the top end even on the C800.
How many clicks though?
Nice.
On that
How many
clariphonic?
clicks on what?
The
Yeah.
Kush?
Oh, it depends on what I'm recording, but a lot of times, I mean, at least halfway up on the brightness. I usually have it at the very tip top thing just to give it a little bit of extra air. but I almost never have to EQ if I'm recording my vocal for a production. When I mix it, it is almost no EQ ever. It's just
I have the Mark II, and I love it on the Clariphonic, the outboard. I use it on everything.
it's amazing. It's just like air with no phase
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy Douglas, man. He showed me the Clariphonic one day on a mix,
Everybody
and
froze.
he just A/B'd it. But the software, the plugin,
Yeah.
and he just A/B'd it, and I was like, whoa, you know. And I was using it on everything after that. But you can get a little tricky with the low end. If you might lose some low end if you don't know what you're doing.
And can't forget about the Moog EQ and the Moog Pre's
Yeah,
with their
Moog.
air band. It's pretty sweet. Picked that up from Dave, but
Facts.
the Moog EQ on
And
the
now
mix
Soundtech,
bus, yeah, the Soundtech is crazy.
yeah,
So
Soundtech's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Soundtech
Moog is
ridiculous.
Moog is interesting, guys. The Cliff Moog started out with the same thing, but his uh, one of his men stole his whole company, and so he changed from an NTI to a Moog EQ. And what's so unique about that EQ is it's not a audio um, uh, what do you call it? It's not an audio chip, it's a video chip. So it goes out to like 10, 15,000 or some big number. And that's why that sounds so clear on the top end. And so I highly recommend I use that. That was the one, that Nico knows this. That was the one thing I never said that I used. I wanted to keep it all to myself. But about about 10 years ago, I brought it to the public because I felt like I'm hurting Cliff Mogg if I don't let it get out there. But it's wonderful. Bob's used it, haven't you, Bob?
Yeah, I love Cliff stuff. And by the way, he's like the nicest
Yeah,
guy on the planet. Like seriously, I don't know a nicer person than Cliff.
yeah.
He's amazing. Another interesting thing I discovered was I'm sure everyone's familiar with mixing female vocals that are kind of harsh, or they start to belt a chorus or a bridge, and they just find themselves doing a ton of EQ or trying to use a Soothe plugin. And I had this client rent a R44 AEA ribbon mic to sing a pop song, and I was they actually recorded the song first on a C12 vintage C12, and that sounded pretty good, but it definitely I had to do some work to tame the harshness. And as soon as they recut it on the ribbon, it was so amazing. Like I could do anything I wanted with the EQ, and it never got harsh. So that was kind of rediscovering ribbons for vocals. Is They're awesome. So like now it just brings to mind a few female pop singers that I mix that I think could really benefit from ribbons, instead of using condenser, cardioid, and all that stuff. So
Does it look like Nico's mic?
Right.
yeah, it was a different brand, but AAR44 is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I love cutting vocals with ribbons, and like you said, they take almost all ribbons take EQ really, really well. So you can really dig in, and it just sounds musical. It doesn't sound harsh like it does with other, like a condenser.
What if you ran your program through the microphone? No, that wouldn't work. How could you do that? Never mind. Never mind.
Dave's
Stupid.
over here reamping shit as always.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I love doing that with guitars.
Oh yeah. Dude, that radial,
I reamp the shit out of it.
that
Huh?
radial is essential. The radial DI ecstasy or
The
whatever.
Yeah.
ecstasy.
Yeah.
Dave, you still running stuff through your pedals?
Yeah. Kinda.
Yeah.
Since I saw you, Bob, I've moved 3 times. You know how much I move. I like to move about every 2 years, and I got some stuff came in, and so I'm gonna start doing that. And Bob, that one you gave me, the compressor, man. That's gonna be the first thing I use. I love that
Corset,
thing, man.
Electro-harmonics corset. That's a great
Yeah, the
pedal.
tone corset.
Cool. Oh yeah, yeah.
So, by the way, there's a secret sauce pack out there that is, I think it's about 50 guitar pedals that are impulse response IRs that you can throw into. I'm sure you can throw it into the waves joint. You can throw it into what's the
IL2
yeah.
waves.
What's the other one? The really expensive one.
Altiverb.
Altiverb. You can throw them in Altiverb as well. Yeah, I remember we were messing with the Big Sky. Yeah, we've got it loaded up.
Oh, they got Big Sky as an IR. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. So I think there's about 50 pedals or so to choose from that you could load up as IR. So that's something that definitely worth checking out.
Where do you get the pack?
Secret sauce, Ken. You got to talk to me behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying?
behind.
Well, where do I get the pack?
Hey, Nico, do you
slide that pack into my DMs?
Nico, you know LaRocca, Jason LaRocca.
Yeah,
he gave me about
that's exactly what I'm
80
talking
or
about.
Is it the same one?
Same pack. That's the pack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's really usable, guys. That's real usable.
Yeah, it's
Did I
amazing.
happen to say real usable? I think so.
No, that's the one. Speaking of, let's go over. Dave mentioned some secret sauce that he didn't want to give out for many years. Does anybody and everybody? Let's try and go. Let's go. Give out something that you might be holding secret. It doesn't have to be the one. You don't have to give out a secret, or just something that you don't think is.
That's for you, Ken.
You don't think is traditional. Where are my glasses? I don't have my glasses with me. Where do I apply to the cool guys club?
I'm trying to think.
Look at my list.
I'll start with. All right, I've been just like Dave, where I really don't want to give this one up, and this is super secret sauce for me. This is way slept on. United Plugins, everything they make is genius. They've got a couple different developers that they work with, but they're genius. But my secret sauce is the Fire Cobra, and Dave knows how much I use that.
We used that a long time ago.
Yeah,
when you were with me,
yep.
Nico.
I'm still
right?
using it. That's my secret sauce on vocals right there.
Yeah, I use it on vocals.
Yep.
Fire.
Not many people know about it. But yeah, that's my secret sauce. I've been holding that. I was wondering when I'm gonna give that one out, but it feels like the right time.
Nickie, what's some of your secret sauce? Drop some on us.
All right, so I'll match with another vocal secret sauce. DMG Audio makes this limiter called Limitless, and I throw that on at the end of the chain, and I just always, when I bypass and unbypass it, just love what it does, and that was shared by another big artist engineer. I won't put them on blast, but it's the secret's out, man. He paid it forward to me. I'm paying it forward to y'all, man.
Hey, we appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
we are grateful.
We actually
man.
I actually use Limitless on every mix on my mix bus. I know Dave's pretty into that as well, right?
Yeah, I never thought of it for a vocal.
Same.
I've been using it for about Nick. I think I started using it with you, so I've been using it about 6 years. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
But same, yeah. I never tried it on vocals. Jeez.
I always would try like a L2 or L1, or any kind of brick wall limiter, any limiter on the end of the vocal, just to like not too much limiting, but just for that ceiling, just to kind of control the peaks.
And I use it in the same way. I love Limitless though, because you'll see when when you get it, it's different modes on there that you can pick through, and then kind of have an idea of what's bringing you closer to what you really want to hear without having to go straight into EQ, without having to compress, but something at the end that I could just kind of flick through and say which filter per se is giving me closer to what the goal is. And that's why I've been preferring it over other limiters is for that feature right there. You could get a lot of
and it's crazy
options
clean. It's
with the sound.
crazy clean. I was gonna mention I've got the L2 on my all vocals, kind of just inactive, always sitting there, and it's got a color to it. Even with no nothing, it's got a little color to it. So you gotta want to use it or whatever. It's got to fit. But that Limitless is like super clean and transparent. So I'm gonna definitely try that out.
Nico,
Well, on a previous, go ahead, Dave.
on the L2, I don't know what the hell a dither is, but I put it on there and I like it. What the fuck is
Shaping, ultra
dither?
shaping, right?
I put dither at 16, and it kind of feels, for vocals, it kind of feels right. I don't know. Well,
That's
If
right.
it sounds right, it is
There it
right.
is.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right, who's next? Who's next? Give us some secret sauce.
So on a previous mixing night, we did the mixing night mastering night, and I compared a whole bunch of like brick wall mastering limiters sonically, and far and away the absolute worst dog shit sounding one was the Waves L2. I mean, I was shocked at how bad it sounded compared to almost all of the other like final push
What was
things.
the threshold you said, Bob?
After you pass 1.8 on a lot of limiters, once you pass about 2 dB on the threshold, uh, the sound starts to change, and not for the better. And it doesn't matter what the input volume is. It could be not even hitting the threshold. It's just something that happens with limiters, and that's why the plug-in good math is so helpful, because you can use it. All it is a volume knob. It's three volumes knobs at 3 plus or minus 3 dB. So you can leave your limiter at 0 or like negative 0.1 and smash into the limiter instead of pulling the threshold down. And I do that with Limitless. I do that with L2 from Fab Filter Pro L2. And then it's just a great, it's a lot cleaner method of using a limiter. But the L2 from Waves, how old is that now? It's like 15 years old now,
I think
isn't
it's
it?
Super
27.
old.
I
Yeah.
think it's much older than
Yeah.
that.
I've been using it since I
So
was 3, so I think it's about 27.
yeah, I'm not surprised that was the worst one, to be honest. Like, nothing against Waves, it's just an older limiter
Yeah, low
now,
key feel like the L1 sounds better a little time sometimes, but
Uh,
I guess
I use
different.
the L1.
The L1's got a vibe.
Hey guys, Boz, B-O-Z, he's got a limiter called the Wall.
hmm.
I
And
have that.
man,
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I just like looking at it, so I use it.
It's really good. It's really good. It has a lot of options, and I really started using it when I really wanted that CLA sound, when I got a mix that had CLA on it, but when you take it off, it just kind of falls apart and there's not a lot to do to match that. So the Wall is the same thing, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but with CLA vocals, there's a little bit of noise in there that you cannot turn off. So once you start limiting and compressing that, or and I hate gating stuff. It just sounds so unnatural. I don't care how you dial it. It's just somewhere you got to do it really good, and it's still not the greatest. So the Wall by Boz is a super go-to when I just want that wall setting and I don't really need the rest of the CLA stuff. It's just way cleaner, obviously no noise, and I can get the same results, and there's more like versatility. You've got a smooth section and an aggressive section, so it's like different types of compression and limiting. It's pretty freaking A1, and there's dither on there for Dave.
Yeah. Also, too, Nico, if you look at the JST Widener, it says Boz on it in big
What?
letters because he's the one that did it for
Sidewinder,
Yeah.
side widener. I can never say that.
Side Widener.
What?
Boz did that.
No wonder it
He's a
sounds
great
so
guy.
good.
He's smart
That
as hell.
Yep.
Great
Yeah,
record
Joey's a
producer
bad
as
boy
well.
for sure. Shout
Yeah.
out Joey. Joey Sturgis,
Yeah.
JST, and Oh, and Boz.
No,
And all of them,
Boz
man.
guy.
These guys are geniuses. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, Joey Sturgis. Joey Sturgis has that. What is it? The what is it?
vocals,
he just
something
came out
vocals.
with
No, it's a
Transify.
transient shaper or
That
something.
one's
Oh, Transify,
Transify.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I use that every mix. I use it for vocals to get the consonants to sharpen up a little bit, you know, and a little
a little
bit.
bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Sturgis stuff. I like his
Yeah.
stuff. The delay is really dope and
He's
vibey.
he's a beautiful human being too, really is.
Genius.
Transify is great on reverbs. So if you just, because it's 4 bands, frequency bands of transient shaping.
I
So
never thought
if you
about
mess with
that.
the sustain, the release, you can like shorten just the high end or lengthen
Right.
just the mid range.
Damn.
Yeah. Thanks,
That's
Bob.
crazy.
Transify.
Transify.
Yep.
It's awesome, dude. Snares, of course. I always use it on snares. Banging that
Yeah.
250 up a little bit. Believe it or not,
It's
there's
dope. Remember we were talking about the transient designers on vocals. So this is dope. It's cool.
Spiff is a good like transient kind of thing on vocals.
there's a preset called male vocal forward or something, male rap vocals or some shit like that on Spiff, which is A1. Definitely brings those consonants forward, and a lot of people use the delta function, and then you could kind of mix that in,
Oh, like a
Nice.
parallel?
it, on another track, and then just put it in delta, and then just mix in how much of that you want to add in.
Does that anybody else start with the Soothe Nico preset?
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. I got it.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's from both of you guys. I've been using that preset from you guys for years.
That's
I'm like,
the
all right, I'll
one.
start
Dude,
here and modify.
genius. I love it.
Yeah, I remember when Nico did it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
He did it on my Soothe.
Yeah,
Remember
man, it's
Nico?
crazy. And I think it was on like Soothe 1 or something, like the OG shit.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, it
definitely
was.
Soothe
It's
one.
crazy. Yeah,
Soot's one of those plugins that are just like, it just has all limitless possibilities. Like the other day, I used it. A producer was telling me to try the whole Jason Joshua trick with the kick side chain to the 808, but put the obviously put the Soothe on the 808, filter all the way to the low end, only have it affect the low end, so when the kick hits
Yeah.
it dips. And I'm like, nah, that's gonna sound crazy. It's gonna sound artificial. I hate shit that you can hear like happening. You know what I mean? Like I like it to sound as natural as possible. So I tried it and I'm like, okay, pretty transparent, pretty cool, man. And in the video, the reduction that he had was like a lot, like 6 dB. You know what I mean? 8 dB reduction. And I'm like, that's way too much, but it sounded great.
So he's got Soothe on the 808, and he's using it to sidechain the 808 in the low frequency
from the kick.
bands.
Yeah. So when the kick hits, like the 120 area below, it takes away the transient of the
I see what
808.
he's doing. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty smart. And
Yeah, that's dope.
I was
I'm
using
gonna
Track
try it.
Spacer. Go ahead.
Did you say 120?
Like
I
below
didn't.
that,
I
probably.
never realized there was anything above 60.
Apparently, there's a tax in these 808s now. That's fighting kicks. You know
Taxes? I ain't paying no
Yeah.
taxes, man.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Over here, we
Not in
over here
Vegas.
it's all about 30-40, man. If it ain't 30-40, we just throw it in the
That's right.
trash.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
you got
right.
the Duchess for.
That brown note frequency.
Yeah, you gotta be a man, Come on, man.
Hey, be a man.
I'm gonna get canceled one of these days.
Yeah, let's hope we don't.
Keep your transients in.
Keep your transients in. You need a T-shirt for that.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your transit
They're missing.
That's crazy.
And we didn't finish the secret sauce.
Who's left?
Who got away?
I was trying to get away.
I know it.
Give it up, Bob. Give it up. Give it up.
I'll give you three. Okay, so first one, which is I just know it's not used by a lot of people, is the AMEC mastering compressor from Plugin Alliance, which is actually the GML 8900. They just couldn't get the licensing from George Massenburg, but that compressor is amazing and unlike any other out there. It besides the fact that it works different, it just hits transients in a way different method. That thing is badass. Second one would be the MBEQ by Make Believe, and with no cutting or boosting, that EQ has a tone to it. Two tones. One, there's a sauce bottom on the bottom right, sauce button on the bottom right. With that off, the plugin has a really great density to the mid range. It just kind of tonally changes something with no EQ. So I can put that like on a master bus or like a vocal bus, and it'll just tonally shift tracks, and it just makes them more pleasing to me. I love it. So that's another little secret sauce. And then the last one is Sonomus A console. It's a API console recreation, and it's just real simple. It's like the NLS waves. It's a fader, and you can drive into it. And they also have a Neve one, and those plugins, the N console and the A console, those have changed my life recently. Like they just sound so good. Like
What's the
just gives
company?
you a Sonomus, Sonnimus, and they're not very well known, and I love them. Like just if I have them like a bunch of them in the session and I bypass all of them, there's just totally shifts the whole tonal spectrum of the mix. It's
Oh
crazy.
wow, it's giving me
Have you?
the NLS vibes from Waves.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
but it's better than
Have
NLS.
you?
Tonally, it
Have you
sounds
tried?
better.
Have you tried stacking like 8 of them, like Jay does,
No, I haven't tried that
on
yet.
the low
I
end?
haven't tried
I
it yet.
definitely got to try that out.
$50, not bad, man. I didn't realize the
Yeah.
wallet segment came so early this time.
Hey guys, I got two for you that I recently liked. I don't know where they came from. Vac Attack. It's like the old
Oh, the
yeah,
Mixland, yeah.
and then the PSP 42 delay.
Oh, it's a
The little
old
blue
Lexicon
one,
delay.
the little single. The PSP did a version of the Lexicon 42.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's awesome.
It's really well
the mono
done.
delay.
It's extremely well done.
That's cool.
And I recently, I don't get mad at me, but I recently Sam started using the Blue Cat Destructor, and so I'm using that now. It's old. If you hit me up, I got a really great preset for bass on it. It'll change your life.
That's my jam.
So what is Vac Attack? What is that plugin?
Well, it was a bunch of tube things back in about 20 years ago, and Tom Lord Alge used it, and I talked to him about how much I loved it, and he gave it to me, and this is a version of that. It was called what?
Oh, the back rack.
Vac Rack. That's what it was
Oh, it's a
called.
Vac Rack.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Vac
Okay.
rack.
And
Okay.
it said that's by Jesse by Mixland.
Yeah, Mixland, Jesse Ray.
Now it's not perfect, but there's things I like about it sonically that I think are. I don't want to say better because that's not the way I think, but I like it. I think it works. I'm real happy with it, and I use it on everything. In and out
I
vocals.
gotta check that out. I like his other stuff.
Yeah, shout out Subloom. That shit's crazy
Yeah. And shout out Jesse. He's a dope mixer.
for sure.
There's too many plugins to remember.
I know. That's why we got it all on tape.
Bob, what happens
That's
why I made my own.
as you go along, you forget them, and like 10 years later, they're brand new again for you. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like our ladies.
Yeah, you like Metro Halo?
Oh, the
Well, you
channel
got.
strip.
Yeah, the channel strip, man. That thing's been around
I
forever.
love that. I still use that. Love that plugin.
Thing's a beast. Who's next for the sauce? Ken?
Oh, have I not given sauce? I'll give some sauce. Yeah, plenty of sauce. We were talking about microphones and recording earlier. And I recorded a new version of the classic song Lightning Crashes with Ed Kowalczyk from Live last year. And I wanted him to sing from start to finish without stopping. And it's anybody who knows the song, it's an incredibly dynamic song. He starts at a whisper. And yeah, I mean, it was like 1994. It was one of the songs of the year, if not the decade. And it was my job to produce a new vocal, to make the listener believe that it was the same vocal from 1994, only sped up. But we re-sang it from scratch. So, and he hadn't been in the studio for 5 years. So yeah, so there was a lot of challenges. So I ended up setting up a Elam 251 and my C800 capsule to capsule. And I only let him hear the C800, which I had really compressed and limited so that the whisper and the scream were about the same volume in his head. But I captured both mics pretty cleanly. And it ended up that the 251 was all of the softer stuff, all of the whispery to kind of lower level verse stuff. And then anything pushed, the C800 took over from there, and that was the mic for that. And the balance between being able to capture the entire performance start to finish without him having to stop and without it changing in his headphones, but having the perfect mic settings dialed in for both ranges was like a game changer.
How was he? How was he on the mic control? Like on the distance? Like when you didn't have to tell him anything, probably.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, he was in his heyday in like the 90s and the 2000s. Hasn't lost a step. Sounded amazing in the studio. I was really, but he had like, he hadn't been in the studio for 5 years, and it was in the middle of COVID. So like everybody's a little on edge and he's a little nervous. So we had two days of the studio, and for me, day one was shake off the nerves, let him kind of get comfortable again, and then day two was plan the amazing comp from day one and let him fucking do what he does, and that's what happened. And then it was amazing. But being able to capture both of those mics that way was a total game changer. And it would have been a different result without it.
It's pretty next level.
Amazing.
Very cool.
Pretty next level.
I'm trying.
I'm gonna
trying to get this
segue backwards for a second, just so I don't forget this thought, and then we'll segue to another idea. But I've been using Track Spacer on my music aux, and then sidechaining the vocals to it. A1. I
Yep.
love it, and I know how to spank it just right. But recently, we're talking about Soothe. I've been putting Soothe in that place sometimes, and it does it brings it a little bit closer together. Like you don't really hear the space as much. So I really like Soothe on the All Music sidechain from the vocal as well. So I just want to get that in there before I forget. But
I sometimes use when I want a real verbed out vocal, but I don't want it too watchy. I'll put track spacer on the reverb return and send the vocal to it, and that's a really cool trick.
Yeah, I would widen my effects a lot just to get them just a little bit more open than where the vocal was sitting, But I'm always super careful with that because you lose your effects in mono.
You know what else you can do for read is take center by waves or center one by leap wing and pull the middle down of the reverb and just let the sides poke out more. And it's kind of the
Right,
same
right.
thing without introducing too much phase.
Phase.
It's less phase than a widener.
yeah, shout out
Yeah.
Leapwing. They make all incredible stuff. Everything they make is incredible. The Root one is crazy on sub. The Dine one is crazy. That one's above
Yeah.
my pay grade.
I use the Dime One on my two bus. The thing's great.
Damn. Yeah.
Hey,
See,
Nickie,
like I said, above my pay grade.
I'll get it through soon. Hey, Nickie, I know you probably can't do it, but could you share a little bit of your the way you capture the vocals for Jack?
In terms of what you think?
Oh, just like the microphone into into this into that into this.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I've been recording with a travel setup. I can't wait till I get my own room and can start fleshing it out how I want. I've kind of been on a mobile type of rig for a couple years now. But I mean, I'm gonna go back and listen to this video for the rest of my career. I feel like y'all have all been dropping crazy gems that now it's gonna have to go back to the easel and start pulling out new paint, man. Cause yeah, man, y'all have killed it. Y'all have killed it with this one. But I keep it pretty simple, man. My mic goes straight into the Apollo, and it comes to me. I can record him anywhere in the world, and it'll sound the same. And that to me is more important at this point than getting the ultimate best sound possible. To me, the continuity is first and foremost, especially with an artist that is a rapper and has such a full tone like him.
Anywhere the inspiration hits, you're ready.
Exactly.
And it'll match right up with any other record, or
I've
if you got to
never
finish this record.
I've never had a problem. I keep all my settings the same, and room. I always try to avoid the room being a problem to begin with. So we've never had to experience something like unsalvageable, which doesn't exist in our realm. But I get it done quickly with him, so that he feels like, okay, I'm jumping right back into the exact same vibe that I was 2-3 months ago on the other side of the world.
Can you share with us a little bit of plug-in sauce that you use while recording?
Yeah, so I'm really into the lo-fi, to start introducing that distortion while he's recording. Obviously, the actual chain during the recording process is separate than what he's listening to in playback, for latency purposes. But in his ears while he's recording, it's basic Pro Q3, RVox, R compressor maybe, and then by the time it gets down to playback world, I have a little bit more on there. I have the SSL, the Native Strip 2, I believe it's the plugin made by SSL, like the actual company. Yeah, man, yeah. Yes, and I use the compressor to lift the signal without doing any compression, and that always it sort of emulates what the RVox does without maybe some of the harshness that I get with the RVox. It lifts it up in a way that's not just a volume raise; it's a closer to you type of thing. And that plugin means a lot to me. The Pro Q3 is obviously the industry standard as far as just like a quick tonal shaper. And then I just have fun by the time he gets done recording. And if he gives me some time to just work on the mix, and he takes some time to relax or maybe catch a breather, I like to try different compressors and just experiment with those tones, whether if I'm using an LA 2A, switching that out for a CLA 76, or bringing in the L Ray. That's when and I kind of touched on that with the Limitless plugin, and how it kind of gives me that versatility to kind of shape things up without having to make a commitment compression or EQ wise, but just kind of see how we can enhance, with the bare minimum first. And those are tools that help me uh, get it to at least to a point where while he's recording, he feels like he's already mixed. I don't have to convince him, no, it'll sound good later. It'll sound good later. Trust me. No, like, how do we make it to where, because I know that I have a responsibility that if I end up getting it to sound somehow, some way in mixed territory in his ears while he's recording, all it's going to do is help the inspiration. It's gonna help the vibe. It might end up making him want to write another verse, and that to me, I don't create excuses in the recording world. It's I will try to make it sound as mixed as possible from the moment he's recording, and that I think means a lot to him in our process.
A lot of that gets carried over too to the mixing engineer once it's, because the artist gets married to that sound, and this is what they were in the studio with you, working on it. This is what they like. It's what they're happy with, and now that is like should be like baked in before type thing when you send it off to the mixing engineer, so it doesn't change too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that SSL is
I
game
did
changing.
say, yeah, if you like the vocal strip, you should try the 4KB plugin they came out with recently. It's insane.
Oh yeah.
The channel strip.
Okay. Word.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'll tap
See
into that.
Yeah.
Fire.
See the SSL controller?
Oh, the UF1?
That's the UF1. That's the UF8. That's the other UF8.
Bro, yeah.
That's my Apollo.
You have a
Yeah,
whole
Hey guys,
SSL console now.
Guys,
There's-
I'm
Yeah.
opening up a fade. All you gotta do is give me $500 and I'll do a perfect fade for you.
All you need is one fader, man. Just bang
I
your
love it.
life
What
away.
is that, Dave?
Bang, bang, bang.
Fade Outs by Dave Pensato.
Yeah.
Great. What a
That's
business.
the UF1, ain't? No, that's something else.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
What is that, Dave?
It's a secret.
Hell if I know. It's I shouldn't say that. My dear friend Phil Wagner asked me if I wanted one, and I wanted to do one. And Phil's you got to know Phil. He's one of us, and he helps us all. And he's had a massive career, and he gave it to me to show everybody else. Really,
Yeah, no, Phil's the man.
Huh?
Is he's still over there?
Yeah, he's back at SSL. This thing does a lot of stuff with Pro Tools. Like I don't know. I just now getting into it, But I
Well,
recommend
the concept of the SSL channel strip is you put channel strip 2 across every channel, and then the SSL software opens up, and you are looking at an SSL console, and you don't have to touch or look at Pro Tools at all. You don't even have to look at the screen. You can just work off of your transport controls and your controllers in front of you. And until you need to adjust a plugin other than an SSL plugin, you don't have to do anything other than old school mixing. I love it. The concept is really
That's
fantastic.
the SSL 360. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it just works with the UF8s and the UC1 and the UF1, and ties them all together in software, and it lays it out in software in front of you, and then it lays it out in hardware in front of you, and it's just like,
So that's an app you run.
works with,
You run along with Pro Tools, and then you just switch to Pro Tools when you need to mess with another plugin.
Yeah, you can just hit a button and you're on Pro Tools, hit a button and you're on the SSL 360.
It's kind of like
and you still have all your transport controls.
It's kind of like the CLA Mix Hub, right? I think, but just without a controller. This Mix Hub doesn't have a controller.
I haven't used that.
I haven't used Mix Hub either, but I believe it's the same concept. And I remember Slate had the Virtual Console they still have it, but remember the Virtual Console way back?
The Raven, yeah.
Oh no, the little itty bitty channel console strips, the VCC Virtual Console collection.
Right. Isn't that still in the mix rack version?
Yeah, it's in the mix rack. Yeah. Well, before you would just throw it on every channel, option drag, put it on every channel, and then I think they grouped or they communicated with each other somehow. Like you can change the sound like to Neve or
Right. You could group them. Yeah, and I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, that's actually the one thing I love about the SSLs is they're very transparent and they're low DSP. so you can put them all across, which I've never really worked that way. But this way makes sense because you can open it up and have an SSL in front of you, which makes sense to my brain. So, but yeah,
so fire.
I had to.
And now they got the meters on the UF1.
And a better transport, right?
Beautiful.
Well, you got the UF1, I got UFC, and they'll beat you up.
Well, guys, my solar just kicked on today. I just got it installed, so all my mixes are going to be more futuristic sounding than all of yours. So go ahead and be jealous.
Nice.
You know? Yeah, because
That's
the solar sounds different than the regular
That'd be
electricity.
fire.
So.
It does, and it's gonna cost you less to work. So that's
Nice.
pretty dope.
I'm excited.
We're gonna have you work around the clock.
Amazing.
There you go.
Bob, I miss you, buddy.
That's right. To pay off your solar panels.
Bob, you drive south, you drive right by me. Yeah, just come in and say hello, Bob, man. Come on, we used to see each other every damn day. I mean, in a manly way.
No.
We used to see each other every day.
Eric's on the other side of you. Maybe we can just all meet at your house.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I have a tent. I have a tent.
I got a question for the OGs. For everybody,
me?
I got a quick question. No, recently I've been talking to some engineers, and what do you guys think about getting paid in pub?
I'll start with depends on how much your pub's worth, and I learned that from Dave. So thanks, Dave.
Yeah, it depends on if the artist has anything popping. As soon as I hear anything like that, I go straight to Spotify and I go, are they doing real numbers on Spotify? Is there any kind of income there to tap into? If not, no. If so, then sure, let me evaluate it.
Sometimes they're trying to trade you like half of your mix rate for like 27 cents a pub. Like
what I do is I'll charge an absorbent if that's a word amount of money for the mix, but I'll treat them like 2 points for 2 points of publishing because points are a waste of time, but publishing that's money when you sleep, and so you do that with the manager of the artist because he's probably handling the publishing. And
it can be good or bad. It's just like Ken said. It just depends if they're popping. If you believe in the song, I mean, you could also run in a situation where you do a mix for publishing and the song never comes out. So then you just worked for free.
Or it comes out and
it could also come out and make you a bundle. I did that once with the K-pop group named Twice, and I got probably 3 times what I would have gotten if they paid me cash for the mix rate. So. On the other hand, I've been offered points for an artist that was kind of past her prime. And I talked to some people before I accepted the deal or not and found out she had spent 300 grand on her album and there was no way she was going to recoup. And they wanted to give me points after they recouped. So I was like, that's just working for free. I'm never going to get paid. So in that case, it was it would have been a bad deal, So you just got to do your research before you accept it.
Going back to what I do, like let's say you're charging $3,000 a mix. Well, you'll drop it down to 1,200 plus 2-3% of publishing.
Yeah,
you want to always leave with something.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we all have friends and people we like, but I'm talking about like when you're out there in the Wild West, you got to try and find new ways.
If you're talking indie artists, you got to make sure that indie artist is doing something, or that you super believe in that indie artist, or that you just don't care if you make money off of it. I mean, sometimes doing the mix or doing the gig, being associated with them or being a part of that project is more important to you than the money is. And if so, then take what you can get and do your best work, and maybe the next one you'll get paid for. Maybe you'll end up winning, but don't go into it expecting to get paid if you're taking pub money.
Right. If that's your
publishing is if you can make bank on publishing, it is easier than points because it doesn't involve the label or auditing the label or waiting for them to pay you. You know, it's coming from ASCAP or BMI, so it's if it does make money, it's yeah.
It's also a very small sliver of the streaming, though. It's like
Mm,
all publishing and writing is 21% of every stream. It's about
yeah,
79% of every stream goes towards the master. So that point, that 1 point can
sure,
be worth more than
yeah.
5 points of publishing sometimes,
Right. For
depending
for
on
the
the
viewers,
stream.
can you guys just differentiate when you say points and publishing, just for everyone to be on the
Points
same page?
points go against the master income,
Right.
and publishing goes against the songwriting income.
Right. So the master recording and the composition, the two.
Yeah.
Right.
So usually if it's on a major label, the label almost always controls the master, and sometimes some of the publishing, but usually whoever wrote it controls most of the publishing or all of the publishing. But in streaming land, about 79% of every dollar goes towards the master, and about 21% gets divided between all writers and publishers. So you got to weigh how much of what percentage you're getting. If you're
Right.
getting 5% of publishing or one
Yeah.
master point, I would probably take the point.
That's why streaming and labels.
Depending on what the recoupment is.
That's why streaming and labels made like billions of dollars, and songwriters and producers are like where we don't see it, and artists.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone messed with Sound Exchange?
Yeah, you got to be if you want to get that portion, you know.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to sign up for Sound Exchange.
Have you looked into the letter of direction that you can get like 15% of the royalties from an artist forwarded to you or something like that through a letter of direction?
But they got to sign off on that. I mean, the chances of that happening are slim to none unless you and the artist come up together. I mean, that's the thing I don't understand about it yet. Yeah, like whenever I do a production contract, the Sound Exchange rider is in the contract. So in your producer deck, the Sound Exchange rider is in that, and it tells you this, and it's never more than what you should be getting. But at least you can, get it in writing now. But yeah, Sound Exchange is kind of like neighboring rights overseas. And if you're a performer, a singer, or a musician on a single in America that does well overseas, you can get paid really well in neighboring rates from that overseas performance, especially radio play for sure. So if you're watching and you're playing on hits, go get that neighboring rights money.
Yeah,
it's out there.
Neighboring rights is a
And
big
it's a
deal.
lot.
Is that what Song Trader does too? Neighboring rights?
I can't keep them all straight.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Song Trader. I think they're with Jacksta. Like if you're on Jacksta and you go through the credits and there's like a link on the side that's like neighboring rights.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a couple.
Wheel collection.
Yeah, there's a
maybe?
couple different companies that'll collect it for you. It's kind of Wild West. You can kind of do it yourself. I'm not exactly sure about that. But
not recommended.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Not recommended.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a gray area. You got to definitely do some research into the neighboring rights part. But there's definitely money out there. And credits mean a lot for neighboring rights. So being credited and how you're credited and what exact role kind of plays out into how much you get paid or if you even get paid on neighboring rights. So, and that goes for background vocalists, keyboardists,
True.
guitar players, etc. That's kind of where credits turns into dollars, I believe.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Nice.
I never said my sauce, but I'm just gonna throw a quick, super simple one. Everybody probably knows this.
Hit us.
The Aphex Vintage Exciter.
Hit us.
I'll use that on vocals in parallel. I mean, I haven't used it on the actual, but you can, you use it however you want. But I throw it in there on parallel just so you can blend it in a little, and it just adds the, the vintage excitement. It just has that sound. I don't know how else to explain it. And an OG put me on to it. Huh?
That was perfect. Adds that vintage excitement.
I played with that a
You
couple of
really
weeks
cut to
ago.
the chase on that one.
I played with that a couple of weeks ago. I'll have to go back and do it again.
Yeah, I dabble between the Aphex, Saturn II, and what's the one from Plugin Alliance? Forgot the name of it.
Oh,
Vitalizer, the SBL Vitalizer.
Vitalizer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Switch
The
between those
dopamine.
three.
Dave showed me
Right.
Dopamine years ago. Dopamine's a great plugin for that too. It's the Dolby noise reduction trick where they encode it but they don't decode it, so it gets real bright. I forget who makes that
Audio
plugin.
thing has a
I think
Dolby
Overloud.
plugin.
Dolby.
Overloud,
Yeah.
Oh, Overloud, yeah.
And then Satin is also a good one.
The airband on the Oven is great too.
Yeah, the Oven is dope.
I hate to say that. I hate to say that, Bob. You know why? But it's great. It really is great.
Yeah.
I love it. Rock and roll. All right, we're getting to the top of the hour. How's everybody feeling? I think we're pretty sauced out.
We've dropped a lot of sauce today.
And I have a client by the name of Jack Harlow that's about to walk in that door any minute. So I'm gonna want to go ahead and get ready for that.
Send him our best.
Will do, man. He'll be coming out of that door right there, and I'll let him know that you guys set
definitely.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Dude,
Thank you so much for
us,
your
Nickie.
time.
It's been great having you.
Thank
man.
you for sharing them gems.
Thank you, guys.
That sauce, dropping it, and man, we appreciate you very much. Sharing all that knowledge, and we wish you the best. Keep pushing, moving forward with all those great things you're doing, and yeah, man.
Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. And see you next time on Faders of the Lost Art.